Welcome back to another edition of All Ball Chicago on the Believe Podcast Network. I'm your co-host, Robert Bobby Reed, and I got the legend, the MVP veteran, the Statue of Liberty in the building, your host. What's up, Marcus?
What's going on, my beautiful people? Man, it's a great day, man. Another great episode. Last week was off the charts, man, with Mr. Rick Barry. Man, we just gonna keep getting better and better with this, man. And we're gonna keep dropping it the way we know how. And we got some big people coming up, man, in the near future too. So make sure you guys tune into that. All Ball Chicago and Believe. And download the app, man. Download the apps, all right? Because we on iTunes. What's the other app, Bob, that they said
Oh,
we
man,
were
they got them on anywhere where you can find
Stitcher, I think.
podcasts, man.
Anywhere you can get it.
Yeah. So we want to dive a little bit into the unknown players, man, and how they impact in the game. And it's just a lot of times guys are just slipping through the cracks. So, I wanted to give a shout out to my son, Colin. Colin coming out of high school, going into high school. I think back to when he was playing on that powerhouse team with Taylor Horton Tucker, Marquise Jacobs, Jeremiah Hernandez. Jeremiah Hernandez is at Wright State. Of course, Marquise is at DePaul, Taylor in the league. Then they had another kid on there named Juro. Well, anyway, that team was so dominant. This was Jabari Parker's team, right? So coming out of 8th grade, Colin had an opportunity to go to Simeon. And I never told nobody this. You know what I'm saying? But his mom didn't want him to do it because of what happened with Ben, and it just gave her a bad feeling. So me and Colin was talking about it the other day because he ended up having to go to a Juco. Of course, everybody know he committed to Chicago State. Coach left, committed to Valley State, coach left, boom. The kid is 6'4" and can do it. He's scoring on all three levels, just like anybody else. And if you look at the numbers statistically in the class of 2019 in the state on all three levels for JUCO, prep, D1, D2, D3, his numbers is the best out of all the freshmen in 2019. 18, 4.8 rebounds, 2.1 steals, shooting 46% from the field, 42% from three. In conference, one of the top 50 scorers in California, ranked number 42 as a freshman. I think guys like that get slipped through the cracks. So I just wanted to give him a shout out for riding under the radar. And you take it from here, big dog.
But Bob, I just wonder, man, like why kids like that, slip through the cracks and guys, these college coaches or these people who evaluate kids, are they missing something? Are they just so busy looking at the so-called, the quote unquote, the elite type superstars, and then they forget about that fourth, fifth, sixth player on the team, and that player ends up going to like a junior college or a smaller school, and like my nephew, for instance, like Javon Freeman Liberty, uh, he was on a small scale. Like he didn't play on early on. He didn't play on no elite like travel ball teams or AAU programs or any EYBL or Under Armour or any Adidas circuit type teams. So he was playing with his friends because he just wanted to play with his friends. And then it was one day, I used to always tell him, like, dude, you're gonna have to separate yourself because some of your friends, and I'm not knocking on them, but some of your friends, that's what they are, this local type kids, that maybe, don't have an opportunity, or they just want to play basketball and they ain't really trying to take it no further than that.
Right.
So I told my nephew that you gotta start, putting yourself out there. So it's crazy. I'm gonna make a long story short, but I remember they was in Indianapolis, his team, his travel ball team, but it was, I think, April live period. And they said all these coaches was gonna be there. All these top coaches. They had the papers on the seat. This is where the college coach is gonna sit.
Mm-hmm.
So my nephew and them, just time for them to play. So they warming up. And my nephew said all those seats stayed empty. No coaches were in those seats. So his coach at the time was saying, you know what? Let's go to, the other where the EYBL teams are playing because they usually play in the same kind of setting. But so they was like, let's go over here to the EYBL so we can see, what's going on. So I want you guys to get a little experience. Man, my nephew went over there. They saw him. He saw Mike Krzyzewski. He saw all these top coaches that he watched on television. And I remember my sister calling me. She's like, you can't believe what your nephew just did. So I said, what'd he do? She said, he just called me and said, this is the last time I'm playing with this travel ball team. Don't even be here. So I say that to say, man, you have to make sure you're putting yourself in the positions to be looked by college coaches and programs. But back to what we said earlier, if you're good, they will find you too. They will find you if you're good. College will find you. Just be a little bit harder. You got to promote yourself a little bit more. But he did that, man, and he ended up going to Mean Street, playing with Mean Street, and one spring he got six offers, man, and he was excited. So he knew he made the right choice. Sometimes you gotta let the kids be who they are, and then all of a sudden they figure it out. So he figured it out, and he's doing his thing, man. So that leads us to our next segment that we wanted to talk about was the undrafted and mid-major players that's doing their thing on the NBA circuit.
That's huge, man. That right there, I would say 5 of the top guys in the NBA was mid-major probably.
Oh yeah, I can read them. We can read them together, man.
You go for it. I'm gonna ride off of you.
We know where Steph Curry,
Steph Curry with the shot, boy.
Yeah, Steph Curry went to Davidson, mid-major school. We can go to the next one, Damian Lillard.
Right.
He went to Weber. I want to say
Weber
State.
Weber State.
He went to Weber State. Your boy, Mr. Leonard,
Kwahi Leonard, San Diego State.
San Diego State. These are mid-major schools. And then Paul George. I mean,
he went down at San Diego State too, didn't he?
Fresno.
Fresno, okay.
Fresno State. So
and your boy that played with Lillard went to Lehigh. What's his name?
Yep, McCullough.
C.J. McCullough.
C.J. McCullough went to Lehigh, and then I got to throw my man in there, Hayward, Gordon Hayward.
Gordon Hayward, yep.
He went to Butler. I mean, so these guys are basically, and I think 2 of those guys that I named actually won championships. Steph Curry and Kawhi Leonard. They both won
multiple
championships.
Between the 2 of them, they got 6.
So what I'm saying is that led us into the segment where we was talking about with the kids being overlooked. These are the kids that's working their butts off. I'm not saying all the elite players are not working their butts off, but a lot of times the mid-major guys are working so hard, man, to prove themselves to that elite type of audience, so they can get the looks, the national looks. And man, they are showing up. They're showing up big time. And then you got the guys like the undrafted guys that, from Chicago. We got a couple of them from, the state of Illinois that's doing their thing. And Kendrick Nunn.
Come from out of Oakland, man. Left Illinois, went to Oakland, and just, wow. Just pop wide open, dude.
Bob, I think one time he was leading the nation in scoring.
He was leading the nation in scoring, and he ended up being number 2 or something like that. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe he led it all the way out. But it got him that G League opportunity to go to Golden State.
So and then you got your guy from Rockford, Van Fleet.
Yep, Van Vliet. Yep, Van Vliet. Where did Van Vliet go? Where did Fred
He's from Rockford.
He's from Rockford. Where did he go to school?
Wichita State. And he won a championship. So it's I think the NBA and I also think colleges, they look at some of the guys that may have been looked over, and they see something in them, and they know they can build a good program around those guys. And pretty much all the guys I mentioned earlier pretty much were like great two-way players. Like they played defense, and they played, good offense. Now, Steph Curry, I don't know about his defense, but the rest of those guys, them guys play defense. They play on both ends.
Right.
So think about that, man. Think about that.
Right.
When we talk about these players, And my nephew is like that, and I'm pretty sure your son is like that. That they love to play defense too.
Right.
Not only on the offensive side, but they love to play defense, man.
Right. And rebound. Just
Mm-hmm.
rebounding guards. My oldest son is like that. My oldest son's solid. I tell him all the time, Jay, you are the ultimate Greg Popovich type of player. He would love to find you because you are a guard that's not fancy. You're not finna do all this extra shit. Excuse my language. You get it done. You feel me?
Well,
No
well,
turnovers, none of that.
and I know that I see your kids a lot, when we're doing some of our shows. And I think you may have a starting five already, right?
Yeah,
You
I
got
do.
5 kids.
Actually, I got 5 boys. I got
Yeah,
6
you got
kids, but I got
5 boys.
5 boys, and I named them after all my favorite basketball players.
Wow.
Jordan, Grant, Kobe, Wade, and Parker. Tony
Wow.
Parker.
Wow.
Tony Parker, man. Come on. He's the
Wow.
best guy in the 6 feet.
That's pretty cool, man. So let's put some of that magic on them, man.
Yeah, man. Sprinkle some of that dynasty legend on them on your hat.
Let these boys, man, let these kids, man, that really have aspirations to making it to the next level, man, do their thing, man. I know my nephew's put his name in the draft this year, so we're gonna try to get him on the show, man. He's a little shy kid, but I think I'm gonna try to get him on the show, man, so he can talk about some of the things that pushed him to want to go to this level and do some of the things that he's doing now. So, but it's a lot of people that get overlooked, man, and I just wanted to put a little light on it, man, and talk about it a little bit. So,
Because it's a reality, man. It's a harsh reality too.
yeah, and
It's a
we
harsh
always.
reality.
We always talk about being positive, man. So I think some of those kids get looked over because you got, these guys that's, dominating. They all in I call it the 4 or 5 conference. You got your ACC, you got your Big 10, Big 12, those type of conferences that these kids in Pac-12 that these kids are not playing in. So they kind of get overlooked unless they win their conference to get a chance to play in the tournament. To showcase their talent, which that's what happened to your guy CJ McCullough, who you was talking about at Lehigh. They won their conference tournament and they got a chance to play, and then I think they played against Duke, and he showed out. He showed out in that game. So
yeah, I can imagine because McCullough cold.
I want to say, Bob,
He
I want to
ain't
say he had like
fast.
30-some points in that game.
He ain't fast. He's not the quickest guy with the ball, but his mechanics, dude, is just his footwork and his fundamentals is off the charts, man.
That's what basketball is all. Think about it, Bob. That's what basketball is all about, man.
That's what it's all about, man.
Fundamentals, man. You only gonna get so far of your athleticism, man. You only gonna get so far.
Yeah,
So that's gonna take.
and not to take anything from Lillard. Lillard's fundamentals is off the charts too, man.
What I'm saying,
and those guys are playing with extreme confidence too.
Think about it. Just look at all the guys. If we go back and Google or look up some of the videos of all those guys that we just mentioned, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be fundamental. They're going to be fundamentally sound. Just check it out.
The ones that last the longest. And I think that's another thing that people underestimate about Michael Jordan so much. They got caught up into his athleticism, but he was the most fundamentally sound basketball player you would find in the game. He was, and Kenny Smith, he said he always have his hands in the right passing lane. He always, was right there. He just understood his fundamentals so much. With basketball came second nature. It was easy.
Basketball instincts, man. I think a lot of kids are missing that part, and I know my nephew has it. I'm pretty sure your son has it.
And my youngest son, Kobe, too, man. That boy, hey, man, he is growing so much, man. Kobe, I wouldn't be surprised if Kobe got to be about 6'5" by this summer, the way his body is looking right now.
Wow.
Dude,
wow.
Man, this dude is built like, man, he's wide, man. He thick. He look like Billups.
Well, man, my advice, man, to you and to your boys, man, is to tell them to keep grinding, man. Keep putting in that work. Never settle. It's too many times, young athletes, they settle. They think they already made it. They think they're good already. But just keep pushing yourself, man, to you reach your goal. I mean, set goals, go out there and work on them and try to be, the best basketball player that you can possibly be, man. And then you'll get some looks. You'll get them looks, man. So you just got to hang in there and just keep grinding, man.
That's it. So what do you think, man? We gotta talk about the NBA, man. Is it coming back, man? What do you think? What are your gut feelings about that?
Man, I was just thinking the other day, man. I was like, can you imagine if they bring it back, right? And just me hypothetically thinking, man, that if it comes back and they play in June or July, playoff June, July, and Brooklyn comes because right now they qualified to be in the playoffs, and then KD and Kyrie come back. That's just me thinking, man, because KD is my guy, man. That's like one of my favorite, basketball players. And I'm like, I know he's hungry. I know he want to get out there, man. I was like, what if they do it? And it's only like a short time. He comes back and Brooklyn wins the championship. That's crazy.
Oh man, that would be awesome. Is he
Crazy.
ready though?
I bet you he's ready, dude. I mean, like, I don't know, Brooklyn won't take no chances on that, but I'm just saying, that's what I said. I was just hypothetically thinking, that what if that happens?
But you think he ready? Because he tore that in when? June?
Yeah, it'll be a year.
June, it'll be a year.
It'll be a year.
Oh, he damn sure ready. He ready. That's a 6-month injury, right?
Right. So and he's still young, man. So his body, recovers quickly, but I really want to see that, man. I think we are missing sports. I mean, a lot of us are sports fanatics. We love to watch it on television. We love to critique it. We love to watch our favorite players. We love to put it out on Instagram, some of the shots or some of the moves or Twitter that we see, and then it's missing now because we don't have it right now. And then them coming out with this horse stuff, man, like playing a game of horse. And I don't know. Did you watch that yesterday? Did it come on yesterday?
I did not see that, brother. I missed
Me
that.
either, man. Me either.
I missed that.
I missed it too, man. So, but I read something that somebody said it was the worst thing that they could have done. The NBA.
Yeah, I mean they're just trying to fill up time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they don't know.
But man,
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope, man. I hope and pray that it do come back. But at the same time, we know it. What's at stake right now. It's coronavirus.
It's dying down.
That's what they say.
It's flattening out.
That's what they say.
Yep.
But the question is, you don't know how it's going to come back or if it's going to come back. We don't know. I think that's what the doctors are.
I think it was a virus and a virus they say can't live when it's hot or something like that. A virus can only be stored in a cold environment, so to speak.
I think we should try to get a doctor on here, man, on one of our shows and just kind of break it down a little bit to us. But our next show, man, we definitely got a guy, man, and I want y'all to definitely make sure y'all tune in, man. I got my man, Derek Coleman, going to be on the show, man, on our Thursday show, man. So make sure you can tune in because, man, when I say 6'10" with handles, had that George Gervin finger roll. George Gervin was one of his idols. He looked up to George Gervin, and he was the #1 player taken. So we're going to talk to Derek Coleman next on our next episode. So make sure you tune into that. I just want
to Hey, man, that boy was so cold. Do you hear me, man? He was patting that rock out at the top before anybody of his size, bro. He was nasty with it.
So let's don't talk about too much, Bob. So we gotta give him.
Okay, all right.
Next Thursday. I mean, this Thursday. This Thursday. So that's my man, though, for real. Like he hosts me on Syracuse when I visit Syracuse. He was my host, so we'll talk about all that, man. But DC, man, I know you're gonna watch this one, and be ready, man. We're gonna do a nice one, man, for you, man. Put you out there like that on All Ball Chicago. Even though you're from Detroit.
Well, they are cousins out there in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
They are cousins. Detroit done put out some hoopers too, man. They done put out some killers out there, man.
No question. But let's go back to what we was talking about with these guys. Like some of the guys that have been let's talk about some of the guys that was not drafted in the NBA. I'm just going to talk about a few of them, Bob, and then we can go into details of what you know and what you recognize about some of the games, because we already talked about Kendrick Nunn, right, out of Chicago, who did get drafted. He was undrafted and made a name for himself and became a starter for the Miami Heat.
He was in that argument for Rookie of the Year till Jimmy Butler got healthy.
No, not Jimmy Butler. John Morant. Oh, you talking about Jimmy Butler? I thought you were talking about John Morant and him.
Yeah, it was them two, but I think Jimmy Butler came back or came over there or something like. But we love JB, so.
Yeah, but they probably wouldn't have gave it to Kendrick anyway, because how these politics. Man, he's been in the G League and this and that. He's not really a rookie. That's how some people think, man. But Kendrick, big shout out to you, my brother. You did your thing. Wish the season was longer so we could see more of you, man. And then the next guy I wanted to talk about, and I know you probably remember his dad, but Wesley Matthews. You remember Wesley Matthews? Wes Matthews was his dad.
Yeah, I remember Wes Matthews. Yeah. That's his son?
That's his son, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wesley Matthews, he played at Marquette. He was undrafted.
Oh,
undrafted.
Right.
And you know how many, let me look this up. How many years that he played? 11 years. He's played 11 years in the NBA, man. And got a nice big contract. One of those years he got a big contract. I can't remember what year it was. But he was doing his thing, man. He was doing his thing. So that's what I'm saying. So
what about
even if
Zero?
Who was that?
Gilbert Arenas.
But he went to Arizona.
Oh yeah, he did go to
He went to I was talking about more like mid-major type kids.
Right.
Like he went to Arizona, and he got drafted. So
right,
I think he got drafted, right?
In the second round.
Mm-hmm. But
right, you're right.
But I was talking more like JJ Barea.
Wow.
Right?
And he's still in the league.
That's what I'm saying. He went to Northeastern University, same school
in Boston?
that Reggie. Yeah, same school that Reggie Lewis went to. And let me tell you, he's played 14 years, man. 14 years in the NBA.
Wow.
At a small mid-major school. So I'm just trying to give those mid-major players hope that, man, it's hope that you guys can go out there and still make it in the NBA, even if you do not get drafted, if you don't get drafted, right? So you still got an opportunity. And that kid that you was talking about, it is a kid that I think he got drafted. Well, he went undrafted with the New York Knicks, Alonzo Trier. Yeah, you know who that is?
Yeah, I remember that kid.
He was at Arizona, but he was a big time player in high school. Like he had a lot of publicity in high school, but he didn't get drafted. He went undrafted, man, and made the New York Knicks team, and he plays a lot of minutes for them, man. So it's a lot of players that went to these smaller schools, man, and then had the opportunity to make it into the NBA, even if they didn't get drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to talk about. So what do you think, like, Bob? What is the best, like, college conference that you think of? When you think of basketball, what conference comes to your mind?
I got to go to the ACC. I'm sorry, man. Come on, North Carolina, Duke, North Carolina State. What was that? Florida State, Wake Forest. Who else you got? The school that's in Atlanta.
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. I mean, that's blue blood country, man, boy.
All right. So then what's the next conference? See, I'm talking about the top 4 or 5.
Okay, so I will have to go with the Big Ten after that, because the Big Ten has been around forever and always being they always had at least 10 teams going to the tournament every year.
And I want us to talk about each conference. Like, what do you think the style of play in each conference? And I'll just tell you what I think. Like the ACC is a little bit, up and down,
right?
But be a little physical too. Big Ten, definitely defensive-minded conference. Rugged,
slow and lethargic, right?
Yeah, man. So Big Ten is more like, that. What about the Big 12?
The Big 12 is beat them up, hit them up, go after them. That's Bruce Pearl and them, right?
Yeah, Auburn, and
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, and Texas Tech, and that's a
yeah,
grimy conference, dude. They tough. They
okay.
tough.
And what about uh what the SEC? The SEC.
Oh, the SEC always be tough, man. That's them Southern boys. A lot of them be them Southern strong boys, man. Get up and down, man.
Yeah,
They
so I
like to
think
get up
I
and
think
down.
that's what conference Auburn is in. I mean, we
Okay,
just
yeah, they in SEC.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, but
yeah.
yeah, they're a little bit fast paced too to me.
They play the same style. Like if
As the Big 12. See, Big 12 is usually ran by what? Kansas.
Kansas, Kansas,
Kansas
yeah.
Kansas usually wins that conference a lot.
Every
Uh,
year,
I
Bill
think
Self
Baylor,
ain't going nowhere.
but I think Baylor had their number this year, man. Like,
Oh, Baylor was rolling,
mm,
man. This was the Cinderella season, and that's why That's why picking this topic today was great, Lid, for the guys who fly under the radar to give them hope, and that's what Rick Barry alluded to, like
right.
continue to work when nobody's watching.
Yeah. And one thing I took away from Rick Barry when he was talking, I mean, I took away a lot of things that he was talking, but he was telling us about when he was being recruited in college and all these colleges, in his area, because he was from New Jersey, was recruiting him, and he went to Miami. Didn't even know anything about Miami, but he made that commitment and joined the squad. Got a scholarship to go play there, man, without even visiting the school. I thought that was kind of mind-boggling that you never did that, but you went there and your jersey was one of the first jerseys to be retired at the University of Miami. So it doesn't matter where you go. A lot of times we get caught up in these conferences that we just named, and then you have these mid-major conferences that nobody really, you know, think that they can get looked at. But a lot of those guys that we was just talking about earlier, the Paul Georges and the Damian Lillards and Kawhi Leonards and Steph Curry's and all that. They actually got looks and made it, to the NBA from a small conference. So not these big conferences that we named. That's why I wanted to talk about it, because that's what we do. We talk about some of the good things that we see in some of the good conferences. Then we always also talk about some of the things that we saw in the mid-major conference.
Yeah, and most of the guys who are sticking are those guys. Because if you go back, sometimes I choose to go back and look at the first 10 first round picks, over the history. And a lot of those guys be out of that league quick, man.
And some of them, man, I think once they get those checks, they don't work as hard, And I think, when you start playing basketball, I think you have to have that mindset that, am I playing for the checks, or I'm playing because, I'm trying to go somewhere. I'm trying to be someone. I'm trying to build an empire. I want to do a lot of great things in my community. I want to help my mom. I want to, so you have to have a plan in place to do those things. And if you're just looking to get paid and then you don't work out and you just want to party or whatever, then most of the time you'll be out of the league quick.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, man. And the good thing about it, though, for all these kids is they get a chance to do something that they love to do growing up, playing a game of basketball. And if they look at it as fun and don't take it on as a job, just enjoy the game and breathe it and things like that, and just take it for what it is. Don't go into it trying to go to the NBA. Don't go into it for that. You gotta love the game first, and then if all of that stuff happens, then it happens. But when you stop loving each step, that one day, that every time you pick it up should be a new day for you. You know what I'm saying, Liv? Like I told my sons when I used to hoop, when that ball get in my hand, it's like an energy jolt just through me because I'm finna go. You know what I'm saying? Like as soon as it touch your hand, you feel a burst. Like, okay, it's time to do something with this thing. And that's how you should feel every time you pick it up.
Yeah, and then you hear it all the time, people saying, you gotta, I think I even mentioned it, that you have to look at it as a job. But I'm not talking about a job as to, I gotta punch a clock in, but a job that that if I put all of my skills and all my work ethic into this, then I will be successful. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times a lot of times, kids don't understand when I say, or when people say, man, treat it as a job. Yeah, you have to be disciplined enough to know what you're supposed to do to be successful. A lot of times our kids don't know. We just say, well, give me the ball. I'm just going to go hoop. No, get the ball and go work on some things that you're not good at,
Right.
And I think when we had the great Rick Barry on, when he was talking about how he was getting back on defense, hand point, talking, doing all these type of things, learning how to dribble the basketball. I always said, learn how to dribble the basketball, learn how to pass the basketball, understand your footwork, pivoting, and all that stuff, man. It will help you become a better basketball player. And I think a lot of times we skip over that because our kids are working so much on the dunking part of it, showing their athleticism instead of working on the basic fundamentals.
Yeah. That's it. Cause you should want to massage it. That's what I used to call it. You get it, you just want to massage it. Just when you're laying in the bed. Huh?
This off the subject a little bit, man. I talked to my uncle the other day, man, and he had me, man, because he actually saw Billy the Kid Harris play, because
You got to get them on.
Billy the Harris was from 3919, Robert Taylor's, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was saying, I said, just tell me, one story. He said, man, I'll tell you one. And I ain't going to tell you no more. And then I'm going to start picking his brain a lot, though. He was saying, man, they used to call him the Dan Ryan. I said, the Dan Ryan? Yeah, because he was killing everybody up and down Dan Ryan. Oh, man. That was one of my Billy the Kid stories, man. Yeah. And for all of our listeners who don't know who Billy the Kid is, Billy the Kid Harris, man, go Google, go look him up, man. He's a Chicago legend. And that was just one of the stories that my uncle had shared, man. But he said, could nobody touch him. He definitely told me that. Could nobody touch that man. He was way before his time, man. Billy the Kid.
Yeah.
Harris, man. It was way before his time, man. And,
yeah.
So he gave me that story.
And then you got everybody who agree. So everybody's not lying. I mean, everybody said that because I even pulled my guy out my lip, but well, no, man, my guy from Morgan Park, McAdoo, he'll kill him. Dudes was like, dude, Mac was cold, but Billy the Kid Harris, he was vicious. And they talk about he shooting from half court, dude, falling out of bounds. And I believe it because they had them double rims down there in the project. Boy, well, get on that road, boy, be money. Shoot.
Money.
I used to go down there. My sister boyfriend lived down there. I used to go down there and hoop at Beethoven with them. Shout out to Fred Cotton and all of them, Reggie and all of y'all down there in the projects, man, for taking me down there when I was a shorty from the hundreds and letting me hoop and go, seeing that. I had a bad connotation of it until I got down there. I was love down there. Come in, eat, family, everybody. It was love. So that was one of the things living in the hundreds we had with the projects. You thought it was bad because that's what you heard until you got down there. They had the best ball, dog. Mo Cheeks. All them, man, came from the projects.
A lot of the great basketball players, man, that came out of the city, man. Most of them came from the projects.
Yes, they did.
I mean, you have Ronnie Lester, who was from Stateway Garden. Lonzo Skanes. I mean, a lot of people don't know who Lonzo Skanes because he didn't make it to the NBA, but he had a successful career. He went to Dunbar and he was from Ivy Well. So it's a lot of great guys that came, before us, but was raised and born in the projects in the Chicago Housing Authority that did their thing. I was from Chicago Housing Authority, played, I was one of the first guys that made it out of my neighborhood, on that elite type level, making it to the pros. And so, but basketball is different, man, in Chicago. And a lot of people just wouldn't understand it until you really experience, Chicago basketball, man. And that's one of the reasons why I'm happy we started this podcast, All Ball Chicago, just to get, a little bit of that out there so people can understand that Chicago was tough and grimy, man, and we had all these game bangers and the gangs and all that and the drug.
They could hoop too, though.
But we also had some true legends, man, of the game that played the game before me and is gonna continue after me. So big shout out to Chicago, all ball Chicago.
All ball Chicago. You put it right there, Lid, man. You know it. Keeping it 100, man, for everybody out there, man. We talk a lot of trash, man, but it's all love. You feel me? It's all love.
You have to, man. But I always say, man, don't talk trash if you can't back it up.
You better believe it.
You
You
know,
better believe it.
that's one thing that I know my father always told me, man. He taught me this. He said, never talk trash unless you can back it up. So the
Mm-hmm.
best thing to do is to be quiet and go out there and take care of business.
Yeah.
Now, but some people like they need to talk trash, Bob, because that's what get them going, you know.
Right. Right.
But then you have some people, will talk trash and they can't back it up, and then you wake up a sleeping giant, you
Right.
know, and they get destroyed, you know.
Some people just come out there talking though. You know, it's gonna always be that dude that just go come out there talking. You know, and that's gonna get you a little excited. Like, oh, okay.
Like I know a guy, and I'm not gonna put his name out there, but he swears he knows all this basketball stuff, man, and then he gets to talking, and I'm like, dude, you
It's
played at.
Chicago. Put his name. What does it say?
I
His
said,
name.
I said, dude, you played in the blue, in the blue South, for those who don't know,
Hey, Harley.
these conferences that we have and divisions that we have, if you played in the blue, you wasn't getting that much respect like you should, on a big on that red, So if you playing in the red conference, like the red South, red West, you got mad love, man. But so I'm not gonna put his name out there, man. No, man, it ain't about that.
Well,
I'm
it's
just
just like a
saying.
water faucet. You go up to the water faucet, it got a blue indicator that this is cold. You got the red. This is hot.
So I just want to let him know, because I know he listens to
he
our
know who you
podcast.
talking about too, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He probably listens to our podcast. So, man, shut your mouth if you don't know what you're talking about. You know, seriously, man. Like I get tired of this, man. Every time I turn around, one of my boys, one of my homies, calling me about some dude talking out the side of his neck, man. I'm like, you gotta talk out your mouth, dude, not the side of your neck. Oh boy. Well, I got one of my guys, man, out of Texas,
Oh
man. He
no.
has one of the best programs out there in Dallas, Texas, man. He's always calling me about something that somebody said, man. Low is my guy named Low, out of Texas, man. And he would say some things, man. But he had Perry Jones that came out of his program. He's also with Greg Brown III, one of the elite top players. He's going to commit pretty soon to one of the top schools, or pretty soon. But he always one's always calling me, man, because he knows people in Chicago. So he's like, man, who is this guy? I'm like, dude, man, scratch him.
Right,
he
right,
wasn't on that level, man. So when
right.
people haven't played on certain levels, I'm not saying you can't talk about it, but if you ain't been through it on that level, that elite type level, you shouldn't be trying to talk about somebody else, man, because you never played on that level. You were, I call them locals. You
Right.
local. You know, there's a lot of local cats, man. But I know we just shoot the shit right now, but there's a lot of local dudes, man.
This Tuesday, man. It's our Tuesday morning episode, man. So
Mm-hmm.
we can just pretty much, just get all it out that what went on this weekend, because we be watching.
Well,
We got
you got
we got Facebook CIA around here. There'd be a
man.
lot of talking on all that stuff, man. It'd be good stuff though, man. Shout out to all the
Yeah,
guys,
man. It's
man.
all.
Shout out
I'm
to
all.
all the guys out there, man, and the
I'm just
girls too.
having. I'm just having fun,
I
man.
got a couple of ladies, man, that be following me on social media, man, like following the movement. They like, man, when y'all get something, you and Marcus Liberty, when y'all get something, could you please put my son in it up here in Chicago? So we're going to have to bring Liberty's Edge up here, man. We open up that branch because now we got the time. We can sit
Yeah.
down and I'll run it, man, because I done got hit up by quite a few people, man. They asking me, man, and I got the time. And Everybody got the time. Ain't nothing happening.
Well, once we get this coronavirus situation under control, then definitely we could talk about expanding Liberty Edge basketball to Chicago, and helping guide kids and helping them succeed. Because a lot of times people who run these basketball programs, these AAU programs, they're not really, in it for the kids. Sometimes they're in it for the dollar, and it messes up the whole, thing, like your whole setup, because people start talking, and he said he was going to do this, do that, do this and that, and he ain't did nothing for my son. He's too busy working that number one or that number two guy in the state. And what about this guy here that nobody's talking about, but you asked me to pay my money to be on the team, and now my son is just sitting on the bench. He's not getting any better because you're not teaching any fundamentals. So if you were teaching the fundamentals, I don't have no problem with that, because he is learning. So I think a lot of times people get confused with that. And that's what I'm all about with my program. And we teach the fundamentals, man. And we try to get these kids better each and every practice. We give them homework, things to work on by themselves, because you can't do it just in practice. You got to do a lot of those things on your own. And if you want to be, successful or great at it, you got to put in a lot of work off the court, outside of your practices and all that. So, yeah, man, I'm just excited, man, about Liberty Edge. I'm excited about All Ball Chicago. I'm excited about a lot of things, man, that we are doing, man, and the people and the guests that we have on our show is like crazy. It's crazy, man. Like, we got Rick Barry, man. We got Derek Coleman coming in. And I also reached out to a young lady, man, and I'm hoping she come on. I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to get anybody hyped,
Right.
hopes up high. But, man,
Right.
if we can get her on, man, that's going to be awesome too, man. So,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
finna go through the roof, man. Whether or not people see, I was like, what happened is we touching a whole new entity of this thing, because we getting to touch, these old school guys, the ones who really like played. Not I ain't taking nothing from the new guys, but back then in the 90s and in the 80s and the 70s, and those guys, when they played the game, they played it for the love. And not saying that they not playing for the love right now, but like Rick Barry say, his stipend was, or whatever it was they give y'all to go eat with, was $9.
Man, but dude played in what, 70s?
$9, man, to go out to eat.
Man, he played in the 70s, man, like crazy. Just to even hear that, man. I was born in 68, man. I mean, come on, dude. Like, but just to listen to him talk about, like, when he said, I averaged 37 points and I needed 13 more points to get to 50. And I'm like, dude, you acting like 37 wasn't nothing. Like 37
Right. Right.
is hard to get, man, 37 points, man. So make sure you guys, if you haven't looked at that or check that one out, that episode with Rick Barry, make sure you go back to that one, man. And all of our episodes,
Yeah.
man. Go look at them, man. And,
Check out that mental health one too, man. We did too, man, because that was a really good one, man.
man. So
That one just got caught up into the Rick Barry shuffle.
right.
We dropped
So
two in one day.
so we just doing our thing, man. But make sure you tune into the next one too, man. Derek Coleman, the great Detroit legend, Syracuse legend, NBA legend, Derek Coleman. So make sure you. I guess now, man, it's time for us to. Well, it's definitely time for me to unlace the shoes, man. So I gotta go, man. I gotta take these black and gold dunks off, man. Those were the shoes that I played in when I was a king, man. And I always wanted to show out when I had those shoes on. So now it's time for me to hang them up.
Well, man, we want to thank y'all for listening to All Ball Chicago. I'm your co-host, Robert Bobby Reed. We just had the legend Marcus Liberty on the set, your host, and we up out of here. Peace.
Holla.
Oh, shit.
I will. All Ball Chicago.